Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily if it is your first time here. And in today's video we are going to be doing the next update of my project pan that I'm doing here on my channel. The project pan that I am doing and that I think fits me and my lifestyle best is a rolling project pan with set usage goals for each product. So the usage goal that I typically have for every product is 20 uses. Once I hit that usage goal, then I will roll that product out and roll a new one in. So without further ado, let's jump into the update where I will be sharing my thoughts on all the different products that I hit my usage goal on, what I've rolled in place of them, and just my overall thoughts and feelings. The very first thing that I hit my usage goal on this month was this Lilah B, let me see what this is called. The Lilah B Lovingly Lip Tinted Lip Oil in the shade. It's the shade Be Elegant. This shade is really unique to me in my collection. It's a very like cool toned natural brown shade. It looks a little rosier than it does on the lips, but this one I kind of found it was a little bit difficult to use and to hit my goal on. I didn't know if I wanted to use it just as a lipstick or as like a lip gloss type product. So at the beginning I struggled with it a little bit, but towards the end I started using it more frequently. I started reapplying it throughout the day, which every time that I put it on my lips I counted it as a new use. So it ended up going pretty quickly at the end, but at first I just like wasn't really sure how to use it. These to me, they don't feel like a normal like lip oil. They're very thick and a little bit goopy, and so they don't feel like that slippy, thin, cushiony lip oil that you think of when you hear the term lip oil. So I did struggle with this like just a little bit. When I hit my usage goal on this, I ended up replacing it with the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade Stockholm. I have been using this so much, and honestly I think it's almost gone. It's this really pretty peachy pink, and I've been pairing this with so many different eye looks and I've been loving it. So far I have used it 13 times since I rolled it into this project, and I've just been really enjoying using it. I've been putting a gloss over it almost every single day. I love topping it with like more of a sheer lip gloss. And then I love this formula as well. It's very nice on the lips, it's very comfortable, it's a little bit cushiony, and it doesn't dry your lips out. I could put this on my lips when my lips are at their driest and it would not accentuate any sort of texture, any sort of crustiness. I really do enjoy this, and I'm enjoying having it in my project so far. So the next thing that I hit my goal on is from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina eyeshadow palette, and it is this shade right here called Summer. I will insert before and after pictures of this one. And this one I feel like I used in one very specific way. I think every single time that I used this on my eyes for this project, what I would do is when I was highlighting my inner corner, I would put this like right here on my eye, just right there, and I actually thought it was so cute. I thought that it kind of helped open up my eyes a little bit and just added like a little bit of something, and I thought it was really cute, which is why I kept wearing it like that. When I hit my goal on that, I ended up replacing that shadow with a shade from my Morphe 39A palette. And I replaced it with this one right here. This is called Canvas. So far, I have not been loving this shade. It feels really dry. I've just been using it as a transition shade basically, but it's just really dry, and it's like a little bit difficult to pick up on my eyeshadow brush. So far, I have used that shade 12 times. I'm not finding that I'm having a hard time incorporating it into looks because it's this really basic brown matte eyeshadow shade, but I'm having a hard time enjoying incorporating it into looks, and I don't really see the enjoyment factor changing at all, just because like, I don't know, maybe I could use it as a bronzer, I don't know. The next thing that I hit my goal on is the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Set to Stun. I have raved about this shadow so much on my channel. It is one of the prettiest Super Shock shadows in existence in my opinion. It has a really pretty like kind of peachy pink base with a bunch of different colors of glitters in it. And this I found works really great as a topper. Again, when I first rolled this in, I did find that I had a harder time thinking of ways to incorporate it into looks, but towards the end I literally just started throwing it on top of every single eyeshadow look that I did, which then helped me not use it up, but hit the usage goal on it a little bit faster. I replaced this with the Queen Studios Dragon Liner Wax Pencil. This is actually a really nice black pencil eyeliner. It's very creamy and very black. I find that it doesn't last forever when I put it in my tight line, but it doesn't like disappear immediately. And what I like about this one and the way that it kind of fades off my eyes is that I have so many black pencil eyeliners that when they start to fade, they just kind of bleed out the corners of my eyes and then just like sit there. This one doesn't. I don't know where it goes, but it doesn't go out the corner of my eyes. I don't know. So I do really enjoy this, and I really also love using this for like a smoky liner on the top lash line. It gives a lot of playtime, but then when it sets down on the lash line, it does set down and it doesn't move, but I don't find that I have to work like unbelievably fast to blend it out. Next, I ended up hitting my goal on a eyeshadow, and it was the shade Amhara from my Natasha Denona Safari palette, which is this shade down here. It's one of my favorite shades in this entire palette, and I really liked using this as a little bit of a deepening crease shade. I found that it was super easy to incorporate in looks. It's kind of like this rosy terracotta shade, and so I found that I could really use it with a bunch of different looks. It's obviously a warm tone, but it's like kind of like leans a little bit more of a neutral orange shade, so I found that it was easy to incorporate into looks, and I didn't have a hard time hitting my usage goal on this at all. I replaced that with a shade from my Nomad Cosmetics Berlin Underground palette, and it is this shade up here in the corner. I don't know how to pronounce it. Let me look it up. It's the shade called Kreuzberg, which is this one right up here. It's this really light, shifty, like inner corner highlight shade. It has a really pretty green shift to it, and that's exactly how I've been using it as an inner corner highlight. I find that it actually is pretty versatile and looks okay with most looks. I haven't really been pairing it with like super warm toned looks like the one that I have on today, just because I don't know, I feel like that might look a little bit weird, but I have been enjoying wearing this as an inner corner highlight, and I have used this one 8 times already. So next I hit my usage goal on the shade Fairy from the ABH Soft Glam palette, which is this really soft gold right here. I actually found that this one was pretty easy to hit my goal on as well, and this shade was unbelievably versatile. There were a few times where I used it as a topper shade. The majority of the time I did use it as an inner corner highlight for my eye, and then I used it as a brow bone highlight a few times as well. Since it is such a soft shimmer formula, I did find that it was like not difficult to make a pretty good dent in it. I bet this would have looked pretty as a like cheek highlighter as well. I feel like I need to start thinking of more versatile ways to use the products in this project pan. Like, I definitely think that if I wanted to, I could use the shade Canvas as a bronzer. So to replace the shade Fairy from the Soft Glam palette, I rolled in my Makeup by Mario Bronzy Glam Quad, and it is this shade right here. So I basically rolled in another gold inner corner highlight, which I don't mind because I think that this formula is really, really nice. And again, I don't think that I'm gonna have a difficult time hitting my usage goal on this shade at all. There's that swatch right there. And I could definitely use this shade as a face highlighter. Alright, so this shade I haven't even put back in the palette yet because I hit my usage goal on it yesterday. So I'm just gonna grab the palette and throw it back in there real quick. But it was the shade Morning from the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. This is my favorite palette in my collection, and this shade from this palette is such a good shade. This works as a really great blending shade. I found that if my eyeshadow didn't have as nice of a blend as I wanted it to, or I just needed to do a little bit more blending, I could go in with this shade and it blended everything out and together super easily. And when I hit the usage goal on this yesterday, I rolled in the shade Firework from the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Volume 1 eyeshadow palette, which is this shade right here. And it is this really pretty shimmer shade. It's like this really pretty like red copper, and I think that I'm going to have a lot of fun playing around with this shade and incorporating it into different looks. And then the last product that I hit my usage goal on for this, the biggest spider. All right, that was quite the adventure. I don't even remember what I was saying. So the last product that I hit my usage goal on is this e.l.f. powder, and I am now obsessed with this powder. It's so good. It sets my makeup down very lightly. It doesn't set it down to last all day, but it sets it down enough so that I don't look overly dewy. And it takes away like the shininess without taking away like the glow, and it's just so pretty. I don't know what this powder is called. It has this really slight reflect in it. The texture of the powder itself is so soft and like finely milled, and I truly am just obsessed with this powder. After I use that one up completely, I will most likely be repurchasing it. But what I replaced that with in the project is this St. Luxe lip liner in the shade Love Letter. Love Letter is this really pretty mid-toned warm brown shade, and I am really excited to have this lip liner in the project because the St. Luxe lip liners that I have, I got them in a BoxyCharm, I believe last month or the month before, and they are very firm, which, if you know, I've been talking about lip liners a lot recently on my channel. I love a firm, kind of more sticky lip liner because I find that it just stays on my lips so much better than like a really creamy lip liner, so I'm really excited to be able to get some good use out of that. We have 3 things left to talk about, 2 of which are still in here. I did not hit my usage goal on, and then one of them got rolled in because I took something out of the project because it got decluttered from my collection. So the first thing that I was unable to hit my usage goal on is the shade Sideffect from the rawbeautykristi and Pure Cosmetics eyeshadow palette collab. And this is very difficult to incorporate into looks. Who would have thought? I have been able to incorporate into a few looks. I have, at the time of filming this, used that shade 10 times. So I'm halfway there. I think that if I really set my mind to it, I could probably use this over the next 10 days and just kind of knock it out of there. It's been a really difficult shade to use, and it's kind of making me think that maybe the shade Firework from the Jaclyn Hill palette is going to end up being the same way. You just love to show him off, don't you? Don't you, Bird?
Yeah.
Why'd you make that sad sound?
Bad thing to show him off.
You feel bad for him?
He's a bad thing to show him off. He's cute.
No, you just try to show him off to everyone. It's funny. So yeah, that shade has been a little bit difficult. And then the other thing that, now that I'm like thinking about it, I'm a little confused by, because when did I roll this in? I don't know if it was in my last update video. Let me check on it real quick. We're just gonna have to deal with Timmy barking out there. So I did have this in my last update video, and I just have not hit pan on it or hit my usage goal on it yet. This is the jcat Beauty Aura Glow Liquid Highlighter in the shade White Goddess, and I've actually really been enjoying this in my project. I think it gives the prettiest glow to the cheeks. It is just really nice. It's a really nice highlighter. It has a bit more of an oily texture to it, and so for a while there I thought that it might like lift up my foundation and just all the makeup that I have underneath where I put my highlighter, but it doesn't. It actually has been working very well. on top of powders, on top of my foundation, on top of everything. The other concern that I had for a while is that if I used too much of it, it would kind of leave a white cast on my cheek, but I just figured out that if I just apply a little bit with my finger and really take my time to work it into my skin, then I don't get that white cast. I did end up decluttering my Glossier Future Dew because it was in fact breaking me up, and I was tired of it. I ended up decluttering that, and then I rolled in this little tiny Bare Minerals Original Liquid Mineral Foundation in the shade Fairly Light 03. I have also really been loving this. It gives such a beautiful finish to the skin, and it isn't very full coverage. It has, I would say, probably a sheer to light but buildable coverage to it. And the other thing about this is that this shade is just perfect for me. I don't know how I ended up lucking out so much, because this was actually just like a Sephora sample, and it ended up being basically my most perfect shade. And I do think that once I use up this little tiny sample that I will end up picking up the full size of this foundation, because it just is so pretty on the skin. I actually am wearing it today, and I just really enjoy the way that it looks. So that is it for this Project Pan update. I think we finally have before and after pictures of all the eyeshadows and like the powder products that I can take before and after pictures of. If you enjoy Project Pans, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you will give this video a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe before you go, and hopefully I will see you in my next one. Bye!